on to Lisa of Moving Angels. And Lisa, you help people choose the items to take with them when they move, and if and how those items will fit into their new space, and then what to do with all of the rest. So that's just a piece of cake, right? Who's moved in the last 10 years? All right, so you know that's absolutely not a piece of cake. So Tom, can you go to the next slide with Lisa's system? So for starters, Lisa, go ahead and give us some practical ideas on how you actually help people determine what things they will need in their new space if they do choose to move. Yeah.
Well, first we do a floor plan. So we'll go to your new home, measure the home, measure your current furniture that you'd like to bring with you, and then do a scale drawing. So everything is scaled to the same size, 1/4 inch equals 1 inch, or excuse me, 1/4 inch equals a foot. So then we can play with it. You know, we have cut out little pieces of paper and we can see where things fit, where they can't fit. Is it going to be in front of the window? Is it too tall because it goes in front of the thermostat and it can't go there? So we go through and kind of play with it for a while and see where things work. Another way we help is closets, considering if you have a big double closet and it's 12 feet long, but we're moving to a place that only has 6 feet of closet hanging space. A good thing to do is go in your current closet, measure out 6 feet, and that's what's going to be your new closet, and then start sorting through your clothes. What do you want in that space, and then you'll know for sure when you move that fits in the new place. It's not packed in, you can actually go through it. Kitchen cabinets is another place to look in. Kitchen cabinets are not all the same. A lot of times they're smaller, and maybe your big plates don't fit. If you have full sets of 12, maybe those don't fit in the shorter shelves. So it's good to look at your new space and compare to where you are and what will actually fit, and we help do that also. How many drawers do you have? Do you only have 4 drawers and you have 8 at your house? Bathrooms are another place to look into. Your vanity. A lot of times we'll have a big double vanity in our homes, and we're moving somewhere where you have a single vanity with 3 drawers. So it's good to look through your things and try to downsize those to fit. And sometimes we can help with all those areas.
So a lot of what we're talking about up here is truly the logistics. The absolute nuts and bolts logistics and measurements of physically what will fit. But when people move from after many years in the same home, often they have to work through a phase of what I call emotional acceptance of their new lifestyle before they can actually handle really both the mental and physical part of sorting and deciding and then ultimately parting with the items that won't fit. So Lisa, can you talk a little bit about the ways that you help people come to terms with things that were once very important to them and oftentimes a big part of their life, yet those items won't be necessary in their new location and at that stage of life? How do you talk to them about that?
We talk about where are you moving to? Do they have lawn service? Do they have a maintenance staff? You can just call up and say, check my light bulb. Do they have a dining area or bistro? Are you needing to cook, or you get to have your meals paid for you? Different areas of where you're moving to. Even as far as if you're moving to a house from condo, you don't need all your lawn equipment because you're going to have people taking care of the lawn. So we kind of go through that, where you're living, what you do now versus what you may or may not want to do in your new space. Once we figure that out, and that will help you go through some of your things in your house. Are you going to be cooking family meals? I encourage people, if you're saving items, to pass them along to your family members now. If you've always been the one that's had family Christmas dinner, and now maybe you have a granddaughter or someone else in the family that wants to cook Christmas dinner, but you have the china, you can pass along the china to them, and you go to their house and have Christmas dinner. You don't have to host it at yours. So it's a good time to give that to them saving it for them. They get to enjoy it now. Charities are a good place. If you have somewhere you are very passionate about, it's a good place to look into donating. You know, there's different areas that you can surf on the web and see who is in need of what right now.
One of the things I'm just going to throw out too is like holiday decorations. So I've done different videos and trainings specifically on nothing short of downsizing your holiday decorations. If you've got 20 boxes of Christmas stuff and you only grab from the top 3 and every year you say, yeah, I'm not going to bother with those.
Which we all do, by the way. I have several totes I don't even open.
Maybe it's time to pass those on to, you know, younger people who will appreciate that. So just one extra stuff. And we love the idea of writing notes about things. When you have special items that have been passed down, take pictures, write notes on the story behind those items so that someday, we really love the idea of things being passed on when you can personally tell that story, personally give it to one of your kids or grandkids, or even a young couple in the neighborhood who just moved in that would appreciate that. And sometimes when we talk about that emotional acceptance, it's this idea of even if your children or grandchildren don't want those items, somebody out there is going to love it and appreciate it. So sometimes you just have to give it to a place that you feel is doing a great job as a charity, and trust that the right person is going to be out there who's going to love and appreciate that item like you did, and the fact that your gift is a freer, less cluttered space. So that's a beautiful thing too. So Lisa, even though your company is called Moving Angels, we definitely talk a lot in this series about this idea that you do not have to be moving to downsize your items to get a freer, less cluttered space. We're huge proponents of this idea of being able to safely age in the place of your choosing, whether that be your current home, a different home, and downsizing your items now absolutely is a huge way to do that. So talk about how you can assist people when they're not moving but simply want to declutter their spaces.
Yeah, well, like you said, we all have too much stuff. Well, Moving Angels, we offer sorting sessions. So I find that about 3 hours is about a good amount of time for saying, yes, no, donate trash. It's a lot to continuously do that for 3 hours. So that's about a good cutoff time. We'll sort through wherever you like to start. You have a closet you're afraid of because there's too much stuff in it. We can start there. When we sort through and organize, we can bring bags of trash out. And after the 3 hours, generally, I can throw stuff in my truck and I'll drop it off or donate for you when we're done. We can also help rearrange furniture. Maybe you have a new, you have a coffee table that's just not working anymore. Maybe it needs to go in the basement or get it out of the house. We can help with things like that. Often we find we get the ball rolling for people. They do 1 or 2 sessions and they start doing it themselves. And so it's just that initial step to get going.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I will definitely piggyback on. This idea of, we all feel like, well, why should I have to have somebody else help me with that? I can make these decisions. And then you start, and then it starts to feel overwhelming. And especially even after going through it in my own house, there's something that we call decision fatigue. And it is very, very real. And when you're downsizing items, it's not only the decision fatigue of deciding what you're going to keep and what you're going to get rid of after many years of owning these items, often with emotional ties. Then once you've made that decision, then you have to physically pack it in a box and get it out of there and know exactly where you're going to be able to donate it. And all of that is a tremendous amount of work. So we're just huge advocates of having somebody to help you, whether it's a professional like Lisa, Susie in the back, Susie Marsh of Susie's Organizing Service, she will do the same thing with working with you on an ongoing basis so that you can start to make little progress. And do you pay for that? Yup, you do. What's it worth? It is priceless. Because if it allows you to make progress rather than being stuck, it is so worth it. There's nothing more important than you being safe in your homes, and not only safe, but being able to enjoy the home the way that you would like to enjoy it. So whether it's a friend, a family member who can help you, or hiring one of our wonderful professionals, please give that gift to yourself of a safer home by doing that. So in this series, we certainly, like I said, talk about the advantage of parting with those excess items. But today we're going to focus also on the how. So Lisa, specifically, what do you do with, some of the categories that you find in homes when you're downsizing? Things like old medicine, electronics, paint, chemicals, broken items, all the stuff.
Well, wherever you're going to donate, if you choose to donate, make sure you call them first. I found a lot of places might have a bracket of time, like the first 5 days of the month, they don't accept things because they're trying to catch up. So you don't want to have a truckload of stuff and drive in and they're like, not today. So make sure you call and check what they're in need of. Linens, animal shelters, or veterinary clinics, a lot of times they'll take those for bedding for the animals. Clothing. There's a lot of charities that will take clothing. Most of them do. A few specific are Grand Rapids Veterans Home. They'll take suits. They have a free store so the veterans can go and shopping, and so they're a good place to donate. You can check online the often list what they're looking for. Women and children's charities. That's a good place. The Inner City Christian Federation in Grand Rapids will take almost anything. They'll even take half-used bottles of soap and stuff. So again, call first. The Inner City Christian Federation, it's ICCF. Yeah. Old medications, most pharmacies will take old medications, and they'll even take ones that you're not supposed to have. But don't put them down the drain, don't put them in trash. They end up in the environment, they end up accessible to people, and some of those you don't want out there. Food pantries will collect foods that's a year expired. So a lot of those check into. Crafts, a lot of clubs within churches and places. Maybe you have leftover fabrics or yarns and things like that. A lot of places will take those, so maybe call. There's been have people that come out and pick them up. Papers, magazines, there's a lot of paper gators around town. You see those green boxes in church and school parking lots. They get a certain amount of money for the weight that they bring in, so those are good places. For garage items, sometimes Laura will know people, young people that don't have any yard equipment that would buy it from you. So, come into my garage, shop, and I'll give you all that for X amount of dollars. So a lot of times new homeowners are really looking for that kind of thing. Hazardous household chemicals. So all of those old paint cans, spray paints, batteries, inks, bulbs. Kent County, if you live in Kent County, and I'm sure other ones have it also, Kent County has a website. It's www.kentcountymi.gov. And you can go on there and look at their Safe County and click on that, and it'll show you different places that collect those items. And all you have to do is put them in a box and drive up. You don't even get out. Just say they're in the trunk, and they'll take them out for you. But all of those items, what they don't take is latex paint. You open those up, put some kitty litter in them, and throw them in your trash. But they'll take all of those hazardous chemicals.